This time, it's with a beauty queen in the person of Oluchi Madubuike. She is a beauty, fashion, health, and lifestyle enthusiast who balances her time as an ER and ICU nurse. A beauty queen, an entrepreneur, and a content creator. So many sides to this lady.
Yes, so she is the winner of 4 national and international beauty pageants and was crowned the most beautiful girl in Nigeria 2021. She went on to represent Nigeria at the Miss World pageant in December last year. It's great to have you, Oluchi.
Thanks for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Oh,
It's easy to tell.
it is.
Especially you having to wake up so early.
Right,
That takes it.
yeah.
We were talking about it just some seconds ago.
Yes, I'm not really a morning person, but I do what I have to do. A lot in camp, we had to wake up early, so get
So
used to it.
MBGN is a heavy crown to wear.
It is.
It's huge. It is like the crown of all crowns here in Nigeria.
Yes.
Miss World is the pageant, the international pageant everyone wants to go for.
Right.
You want to talk to us a bit about that experience when you were there?
Oh, wow. It feels like just yesterday, but I can't believe it's already been a year since I was crowned MBGN. And then I got the opportunity to obviously represent Nigeria. Like you said, it's a very prestigious pageant going to Miss World. And a lot of people, I mean, that's the one that Abani went for. And as a little girl, that's what they always called me. So it was like a dream come true. Very, very exciting, meeting like 100 different ladies from different countries, different experiences. And just bearing the title Nigeria, because when you're at an international pageant, they don't call you by your name, they just call you by your country until they get that kind of personal relationship with you. So very exciting. This journey was just one that was very fulfilling for me, something I'd always wished for. So.
Okay, so you're handing over in 2 days.
Yes.
How does it feel? Like, I know you've had a wonderful year, but how does it feel?
It's bittersweet, okay? So the bitter part, of course, we want to keep the crown forever because why not? But then the sweet part is also just seeing my successor and hoping that, you know, she does better than I do. That's one thing I'm very invested in, is like pouring back into her, kind of like a mentorship that I hope to have with her, just to kind of guide her and hopefully, like I said, she does better. But I'm really excited, honestly. It's just standing on stage and my speech playing behind me and I'm just waving, looking pretty.
How's the speech? How's it coming? It is?
It's beautiful. It's very. I have. But thank God on that day, I've recorded already. So it's just for me to look pretty, smile, little kisses, and to have my mom and my family there. You know, kind of a full circle moment. So I'm excited.
You mentioned how you'd like to mentor her.
Yeah.
And so I just wonder, would you have loved to have been mentored? Were there certain things you wish you had known before you even went for the Miss World pageant?
You know, of course. I personally did reach out to previous queens as well, and I got a lot of information, and I think that was very, very helpful. So, but I would like to carry that forward. So I had a little bit of mentorship, which was really good. It kind of, you can't be really prepared for what you meet, but at least it gives you a little bit of cushion that at least somebody that has been to the event, understands a little bit of like the behind the scenes, can give you like advice or at least point you to direction. So,
So we read from your profile, nursing. It also gives us a certain impression that you are a carer.
yeah.
You have to be a caring person before you can actually go into,
Right.
you know, caregiving as a profession.
Yeah.
What was the plan in that particular area, and will you be going back?
Yes, I still, you know, during my reign as MBGN, I was still balancing it as a nurse, you know.
Okay.
Yes, I've always been a health professional, and I think it's something I would definitely want to continue. My purpose, I feel like, lies between inspiring people and spreading love, and I think being in the health profession, like you said, is something that you have to be able to love people, to be able to care for them in that moment. And working in ER and ICU, you know, intensive care units, it's very intense. And, you know, meeting people at that very, like, critical point in their life, it's a beautiful experience. I definitely plan to continue in that line, but also expanding, you know, my brand as well, so.
You know, I find it very curious. As a nurse,
Yeah.
you would think, oh, your head is all wrapped up in what you're doing.
Yeah.
Why did you decide to go into pageantry?
I'm someone that like defines myself as a very multifaceted person. I've never just been like, okay, my head is facing this place, let me just stay there. So I think the beauty of it is that, you know, you can have hobbies even as a professional, and that's something I love that I left behind, is that like I'm a professional. I've worked for 5 years as a nurse, and within that time I still had my, you know, like my passions and things that I was also, I love fashion, I love modeling, I love, you know, the beauty industry, and so like as a beauty queen, I think that was also important for people to see that you can do both. You can do it all.
Well, it's about time for you to take that final walk in 2 days.
Yeah.
And it's about time for you to take that walk to our kitchen to also taste what our chef has put together.
Yes, but before we go to the kitchen, let me just say a quick one. Before we go to the kitchen, let me just say a quick one. What would you say you've taken from this moment, from this, not just the moments, this period of being a beauty queen? What have you taken out of it?
I would say the biggest thing is personal growth. This was a very, very humbling experience for me, beyond even what I expected. And I think the biggest thing is just, like I said, I've grown as a person. I've grown to understand kind of like how the world, you know, sometimes you're a bit bright-eyed and you're like, oh my God. And so when things happen to you, you don't always know how to like respond to them. And I feel like anyone that has watched my reign, I've been very graceful about it. It wasn't easy, but it was something that I had to learn across the process, that it's not always going to look like what you expect, but it's about what you make out of it. That at the end of the day is the most important part of it.
So what's the plan now?
Yeah.
What's the plan?
What's
Listen.
project?
So obviously, I still plan to continue like my humanitarian work. I was working with the Children Living with Cancer Foundation, and so that's still something that's I'm going to continue. I lost my father to leukemia 11 years ago, so it's a very personal project to me, and hopefully to expand within that region, but also expanding my brand, building the brand that I have. Like I said, I am a health professional, but I love to dabble into like fashion, beauty, so almost, you know, becoming more of a personality and an inspiration to younger women.
I like the inspiration part.
Yeah, I was going to say, you know, it's also an inspiring journey. When wearing that crown, you get to meet all sorts of really interesting, inspiring people. Any specific personality that you were really excited to meet that you got to in this past 1 year?
I think just the last Miss World was very inspiring, just because Tony Ann Singh was one of the, like, after Agbani, like the next Black queen to be crowned. So I think that was a very inspirational moment to see that there's someone that looks just like me sitting in that position of power. And she's very inspirational. Meeting her, she's very down to earth. And so you start to see that it's not always about like, oh, looking a certain type of way or being a certain type of way. You can be yourself and still like prevail. So I think that was really good to meet her.
All right.
Okay.
So would you describe yourself as down to earth?
Oh, yes, 100%. If you get to know me, like, I think people are always very stunned and surprised because they have this notion of, like, I'm supposed to be, like, all, you know, preppy and stuck up, but I'm very down to earth. I'm very, like, I can interact with anybody. And I think that's one thing I love about myself, being able to just come down to anybody's level and meet them where they're at and have a good time.
So far, what would you say has been the biggest challenge?
Probably balancing my full-time career as well as being a beauty queen, because there were a lot of expectations that were set on me, and you know, unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to meet all of them because again, I am a professional and I was doing nursing, and I didn't want to just walk away from the profession as well. So I think that was probably one of the most challenging things, managing expectations.
So there's something that a lot of, well, I'll say models and beauty queens go through.
Yeah.
The whole idea of being a dumb blonde sometimes it becomes apparent in certain circles. So you find yourself in a particular environment and they just assume that you're not that intellectual.
Yes.
We know that you've studied. We know that you're in the medical profession right now. How have you been able to deal with that?
I feel like I've dealt with that all my entire life. I think, you know, even just being a pretty individual, being a female, you're already looked at like as less. So I think because I did have a professional career, it did help me a little bit. It cushioned it because people will be like, oh, she's a nurse. And every time I get the same response, if I tell them, oh, I'm MBGN, and they're like, you're a nurse, I was like, oh my God. Like, it's almost like there's no expectation of you to be doing anything else. So like I said, it's just like redefining that and explaining to people that, you know, there's definitely something up there. And when you hear me speak as well, I think you can definitely see that I'm...
Absolutely.
I definitely have something up there. And you just have to have those conversations because unfortunately there are going to be people that are going to be ignorant about it. And until we start to present the best foot forward and people just really see that, you know, with beauty pageants, someone asked me one day, like, what do you feel like you get out of it? I'm like, the women that are in this room are the future leaders, you know? Like, we have to be very well-rounded people, that people don't see that behind the scenes. You have to be able to sit and talk in front of people, you know, all that kind of thing. So I think it's just something that we have to keep having a conversation about.
Great. So what's your favorite food?
I love amala.
One day late. That was what we had for breakfast yesterday.
Oh, Lord,
But today we're having really cool stuff because Chef Blossom has something for us in the kitchen.
Okay, that's
so let's
great.
head over there.
Okay.
All right, then. Let's go.
After you.
Thank you.